This video is sponsored by Renva Turmeric Shakes, sold on Amazon. Enjoy 3 amazingly delicious flavors: vanilla chai latte, peanut butter cup, and ginger lemon drop. Welcome to the TSD Mindfulness video for teaching numbers 2 and 3. Now we're going on to the next teaching number 2, which is anything is either a form of relationship or a form we have a relationship with. So anything is either a form of relationship or a form we have a relationship with. So let's start out with the forms that we have relationships with. We already talked about some substances, time, structure, money, people, ourselves, right? So those are different forms that we have relationships with. So let's break that down a little bit. What is that about? What are those relationships like that we have with these different forms? Sometimes they're practical, right? They have meaning, and the meaning that they have is being practical, right? Like a relationship with our home could be practical relationship. Those relationships with these forms can be emotional. We might have an emotional relationship with this form, maybe with a person or an activity brings up a certain emotion. So let me give an example. A window. So you have a window in your home. Let's look at your relationship with that window. So that has I would say, an emotional and practical meaning to your relationship with the window. It's practical because it keeps you safe from the outdoors, from what's going on outside, from the storms, from the weather. It is also can be considered more emotional because it allows the light in, right? So having that light can bring us joy, bring us peace, or the scenery, allowing us to look through the window and see the scenery can be emotional. So even something as simple as a window, it can be nice to just take a pause and consider your relationship with that item. Another form that we have a relationship with is the speed limit. The speed limit can invoke certain emotions, right? We might get frustrated. And so also then we might have different beliefs, different ideas about the speed limit. The circumstances might play a role also. A speed limit in one area might elicit a certain type of relationship, but a speed limit in a different area might elicit something different. So what's important to see here is that we have some type of relationship with all of these things in our lives. So does this teaching sound a little bit true? Anything is either a form of relationship or a form we have a relationship with. Every single thing. So let's switch now. We've talked about lots of different forms that we have relationships with. Now let's talk about different forms of relationships. We might love something. We might dread something. We might depend on something. We might feel indifferent. These are all different forms of relationship. And we have relationships with the forms of relationship. We have a relationship with love. We have a relationship with dread. We have a relationship with dependence. So we can really go down this rabbit hole and learn so much about ourselves using this mindfulness approach. The reason these relationships are so important is because our experience in the world is affected by each and every one of these relationships. So if we use an approach, a spiritual practice, a mindfulness approach, using TSD mindfulness to move these relationships into more perfect form, then it's going to change your life. It's officially life-changing. So we'll improve the quality of our relationships, and it, in turn, improve the quality of your life experience. All right, so that is the conclusion of teaching number 2. Teaching number 3 is we are meant to grow into perfect relationships with all beings, great and small. And I don't interpret this as actual size, but importance. So we grow into these perfect relationships regardless of how important they are in your life. So what I mean by that is when you do this work, your relationships across the board are going to change and improve. And that might be as simple as when you're checking out at the store, your relationship with the person in the checkout line who's checking you out. And at the same time, your relationship with one of the people who's the most important in your life will improve. So it doesn't discriminate against, how significant the relationship is in your life. It's just across the board, all these relationships are changing and moving into more perfection. This concludes the TSD Mindfulness video for teachings number 2 and 3.